What's up, guys? Welcome to another talk show. This is your host Ike, and today we're going to talk about shiny rates in Pokemon games, namely Pokemon Go and Sword and Shield. Alright, so why just these games? It's because I'm playing them. You want to talk about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee? I'm not playing them as much, so yeah. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then hit the bell notification icon, and then there's a drop down there. Click the all button. That way you're always notified of my newest videos, or if you want to know when I'm live streaming. Okay, so the first thing we gotta look at is the shiny rates for Pokemon Go. So first part of the video, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Go. So this is shinyrates.com, a website which gives us like take this with a grain of salt, okay? In terms of shiny rates in the game. However, I think for most of these, I agree. I agree with some of their shiny rates. Like, let's see over here, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. You would think that these three have the same shiny rates, but I have actually, based on my personal experience, I've had more encounters with shiny Bulbasaur in the wild, okay? Outside of events, compared to Charmander and Squirtle. Squirtle, I've only gotten shiny Squirtles in community days. Charmander, I've gotten through a raid and one time during a community day, and it wasn't even Charmander's community day, it was Beldum's community day. But definitely Bulbasaur, I have not even gotten a shiny Bulbasaur from a raid or from an egg, but I have gotten at least 4 shiny Bulbasaurs on random days. When I see a Bulbasaur, I tap on it, oh, it's a shiny. So, definitely kind of agree with the shiny rates for these guys. 1 out of 316, 1 out of 718, and so on. So, you would see here, particularly on Bulbasaur, that the shiny rate of Bulbasaur in Pokemon Go is already better than the main series games. By the way, in the main series games, if you're doing it through egg hatching, Masuda Method, or through chaining, or battle encounter numbers in the Sword and Shield games, you're always capped at 512. 1 out of 512 encounters to get that shiny. So with Bulbasaur in the Pokemon Go games, you're definitely gonna get a better odd you're gonna get better odds at getting shiny Bulbasaur. Now, another factor as to why it's different per Pokemon in Pokemon Go, it's because they don't spawn the same way, okay? So let's say, for example, Pidgey. There was a time when Pidgey was all over the place, so I would definitely understand 1 out of 782. But then there are Pokemon like Gible, which rarely spawns. I mean, getting a Gible to spawn is rare. Getting a shiny Gible, even more rare, right? That's why the shiny rate of Gible is currently at 1 out of 103. I remember the first few days when they released shiny Gible, it was actually at around 1 out of 23, almost borderline community day rates for Gible. We'll talk about community day in a while. So the more a Pokemon is commonly found in the wild, the lower its shiny rates compared to Pokemon who spawn rarely. There are a lot more crazy Pokemon, by the way, in Pokemon Go, which you can easily get shiny. If you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, we had the Bug Out event. Scyther was crazy. Look at this. Scyther is 1 out of 44 encounters you get as a shiny. I remember my group chat in the Pokemon Go community. It was crazy with people sending me screenshots of, oh, I got a shiny Scyther. I got a shiny Scyther. People were so happy about that. Right now, we're doing like a Team Rocket themed event, and this Pokemon is notoriously in my group chat again as a shiny. It's Sneasel, 1 out of 62 shiny in terms of shiny rates. Skarmory at 1 out of 78, and yeah, I kind of agree with the information on this website. Teddy Ursa feels a lot more like main series games because it's 1 out of 512. So yeah, definitely the shiny rates in Pokemon Go are different and sometimes crazier compared to the main series games, and sometimes they're harder as well because, again, while that Gible is so good at 1 out of 102 encounters, seeing or getting a Gible to spawn, that's another issue right over there. Okay, so another way to shiny hunt in Pokemon Go is through raids, and raids are very good actually, especially if it's like event-based games. I mean raids rather. Like for example, the legendary raids. It says here that the rate of shiny, or the shiny rates. Sorry about that. How am I talking like Yoda right now? The shiny rates for legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Go is 1 out of 20, and then it even goes down. It goes down further to 1 out of 10 in the 3-hour raid events. So there are days when Pokemon Go Niantic says, oh, for this day, for 3 whole hours, all the tier 5 raids will be this Pokemon. It could be tier 5, tier 4, tier 3, depends on them. And the Pokemon there for 3 hours, almost every gym will have that Pokemon as a raid. You can raid it, and yeah, you're gonna get a shiny rate of 1 out of 10. For normal days, it's 1 out of 20, and it's not really that hard to get a shiny legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Go. If the shiny rate is out there, all you really gotta do is raid until you get it. It might push you to spend real world money for Ultra Boxes, but if you're that shiny hunter, I would say it's worth it. I mean, you're after the shinies, or if you're after a perfect IV, it's still pretty much worth it. So raids, definitely good. All right, next we're going to go to Pokemon Eggs, and Pokemon Eggs, I feel like Pokemon Eggs in Pokemon Go have nearly the same shiny rate as to field research tasks. So in Pokemon Go, if you spin a Pokestop, you will get field research tasks. Some tasks will give you a Pokemon and will reward you a Pokemon. And the Pokemon, if the shiny form of that Pokemon is already available, you're probably going to get a shiny rate of 1 out of 46, also in eggs at the same time. You might be saying, whoa, that defeats the Masuda Method big time. You do have to consider, though, that the eggs in Pokemon Go aren't always going to be the species of Pokemon that you're looking for. Let's say, for example, you're shiny hunting a baby Pokemon, let's say Togepi. Sometimes Togepi, depending on the event of Niantic, they usually scramble the eggs. Get it? They scramble it. So the Togepi can either be in 2-kilometer eggs or 7-kilometer eggs. But here's the thing: not every 2-kilometer egg that you get will hatch a Togepi. Let's say there's 5 Pokemon in the 2-kilometer egg pool. So there's Togepi, there's Magby, there's Azurill, there's Elekid, there's, I don't know, Pichu, alright? So for every 2-kilometer egg that you're gonna get a chance to hatch those 5. Now, where do you get eggs in Pokemon Go? Through Pokestops as well. If you spin a Pokestop, there is a chance for you to get an egg. Here's another dilemma. It's not every time that you're gonna get 2-kilometer eggs. There are times where you're gonna get 5-kilometer eggs, 10-kilometer eggs, and the 2-kilometer eggs. If you do, I think one of the more decent ways to shiny hunt through egg hatching in Pokemon Go is through the 7-kilometer eggs, which you get from opening gifts from your friends in Pokemon Go. But definitely the shiny rate is at 1 out of 46 or 1 out of 58. The same rate more so goes for the task research. Okay, now here is the best way to get shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and that is through the Community Day. So Community Day is basically an event in Pokemon Go wherein on that particular day, Community Day, for a certain number of hours, a certain Pokemon featured in that day will have a lot of spawns. This is actually very, very good for Pokemon. Like, I remember Beldum. So Beldum is a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. I mean, all the way to Metagross. And it doesn't spawn a lot. But on Community Days, it spawns crazy. And the shiny rates of the feature Pokemon is actually increased to 4.1%. That's going to give you 1 out of 25. 1 in 25 encounters of that Pokemon, you're going to get a shiny. So, this is the thing. On Community Day, you are guaranteed a shiny. Alright, depending on what Pokemon is being featured on that Community Day. So, again, for Pokemon Go players, make sure you play on Community Day. Make sure you play on the raid days. We call it raid days, okay? The 3-hour event for raids, we call it the raid days. Play on Community Days, play on raid days. I'm almost 100% sure. I mean, I have never failed in any of those events to get a shiny, so you're almost for sure gonna get a shiny, of course. Community Day, however, much better because you don't really have to spend on anything else. You just need to make sure you have a lot of Pokeballs. You can stock up on berries and make sure you have enough storage space to just keep catching. Compared to the raid days where you really need to have your raid battle pass or whatever. Okay, so those are some of the best ways to get shinies in Pokemon Go. Now, if you're a shiny hunter, go for it. Now, next, we're going to go to the main series games. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking about the main series games and Pokemon Go games? It's because these two games can actually communicate with one another. But before that, let's explain a little bit on the shiny rates for the main series games. So right now, as for me, I'm also shiny hunting in the main series games, and this is the method that I use the most. It's called the Masuda Method. So I'm going to explain this really, really fast. The Masuda Method is simply breeding 2 Pokemon that are compatible with one another, and then make sure that the other Pokemon is a Japanese or a French or a German, like for sure most of you guys are playing the game in English, right? Make sure you're breeding that Pokemon of yours with a Pokemon from a different language. So how do you do that? Trade. So just you will need Nintendo Online for this, right? So yeah, it's in this chart over here. I think this chart explains it the most. So we have Gallade and a Gardevoir, both of which are in the English language, and you get a non-shiny routes. But over here we get an English Sirfetch and a Japanese Decidueye. You get a shiny Rowlet. Okay, now it's not guaranteed that you're always going to get shiny Pokemon when you do this method. I don't know about what's going on in the bottom part over here, but I think we can just focus on these particular two right over here. Okay, so it's not guaranteed, but the rates are at 1 out of 683 as of Generation 6 to the present. So we're in Gen 8 right now. If you use the Masuda method for shiny hunting, you're going to get 1 out of 683 chances to hatch a shiny Pokemon. And it even goes lower when you have the shiny charm. You get the shiny charm by completing the Pokedex. And it goes down to 512. So definitely the Masuda method, one of the best ways to shiny hunt for me, because you really just get to focus on one specific Pokemon. It does tend to get boring, but if you have nothing else to do, go ahead and do it. Alright, and then the next one is through basically they introduced this. It's not really new. It's kind of the old way of shiny hunting, which is kind of related to chaining and encounter and battling. So in Pokemon Sword and Shield, the shiny odds when you start the game is always at 1 out of 4,096. Man, those rates are crazy, right? Of course, when you do get the shiny charm, it is lowered all the way to 1 out of 1,365. So if that does not convince you to get working on your Pokedex and completing it and getting the shiny charm, I don't know what will. However, there is a mechanic in Pokemon Sword and Shield which gets you better shiny rates, and that's through increasing the number of times you battle with a Pokemon. So, check this out. If you have 50 battles with a particular Pokemon, let's say you're shiny hunting Zigzagoon, Galarian Zigzagoon. If you battled it 50 times, your shiny rates will increase to 1 out of 2,048. For 100, you get 1 out of 1,365. For 200, it's 1 out of 1,024. For 300, it's 1 out of 819. And for 500, it's 1 out of 682. Kind of near the Masuda method, actually. Now, how do you know the number of times you battle with a Pokemon? If you open your Pokedex and you go to that Pokemon, you will see a thing there that says battled, and it will say the number of times you've battled that Pokemon. It's that easy. Now, when does it count that you battle the Pokemon? Does it mean like if I encountered a Pokemon and ran away, that counts? No, that does not count. The only way that the battle encounters go up is if you actually knock out that Pokemon or you capture that Pokemon. So only those two things. If you run away from them, doesn't count. Okay, so there you have it. Now with the shiny charm, you're max at 1 out of 512, same as the Masuda method. Okay, so now let me get to the beautiful point that I have for you guys right now, and I'm really talking to three particular audiences right over here. Number one, the people who focus on Pokemon Go. Number two, the people who focus on the main series games and Pokemon Go. And then the third one is the people who don't play Pokemon Go. Alright, so again, let me just reiterate that these two games can somehow communicate with one another. It's a little bit of a tedious task, but it is worth it for me who plays both games. Now, if I'm a Pokemon Go player, I'm going to be focusing on Community Day, because definitely whether you compare it to other shiny hunting methods in Pokemon Go and to all the shiny hunting methods in Sword and Shield, Community Day is one of the best ways to get shinies, by the way. Also, there's another way to get sure shinies in Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's kind of lengthy though, and that is through the Raid Den thing. Let me just give you the gist of it so that you know about it. All you gotta do is look for a Raid Den in the Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you don't know what a Raid Den is, come on, like if you haven't played the game, go search up my live streams. You will see a lot of times where I do Raid Dens. Basically, Raid Dens is you doing a raid, kind of like in Pokemon Go. You raid a Pokemon, you beat it up, and then you get the chance to capture it. In Raid Dens, however, you only get one chance, one try to catch the Pokemon you just beat. With Pokemon Go, you're usually given like Premier Balls to capture that Pokemon item. Like, why can't we use other balls? Anyway, So, and there's a method. Okay, the method goes like this: you go to a raid den, you capture the Pokemon in the raid den, you trade it over to bots, servers, service providers to give you a seed. That seed you will give you a number, all right, and that number will be the number of days that you have to skip in your Nintendo Switch to get a shiny raid den. It's not a shiny Pokemon, it's a shiny raid den. So essentially, every Pokemon in that den can be shiny. So that's the beauty of it in the main series games. So yeah, once you get a shiny raid den, you can farm the shinies. Voila. All right. But if you have the patience to do that, because you can't just, oh, it says 1,000 days in the future, I'll skip to that day, one big leap into the future, and then that's done. It doesn't work that way. You have to do it one at a time. That's the beauty of it. Anyway, so I would actually recommend, and I'm actually excited for Community Days. So when I play Community Day in Pokemon Go, I could do it for a bunch of reasons. Number one, to get the shiny. Number two, for rerolls of that particular Pokemon. If you're competitive in the Go Battle League or in the Sylph Cups, then consider really playing in Community Days, because you're usually given Pokemon that are good for PvP, and they will have Community Day moves which are better for PvP. Like for this particular month, we're going to be discussing about that. But another cool thing about it is the truth that during Aber Community Day, I actually got 25 shiny Abras. What will I do with 25 shiny Abras in Pokemon Go? I'll probably get my best Abra and evolve it to Alakazam, and that's what I'm going to use. The rest of them I might offer as trades to other players. There are some people who miss out on Pokemon Community Days, or maybe they play Pokemon Go in the future, so they miss out on everyone else, and they're like, oh, can I get that shiny? I would gladly trade them a shiny Pokemon if it was a shiny a Community Day Pokemon, because I would have tons of that. But there's another use for an overstock of Pokemon in a Community Day, and that's to transfer them to the Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee games. So remember, Abra, I got 25. I transferred like 20 shiny Abras to my Let's Go Pikachu game, and then I transferred those to Pokemon Home, and if that particular Pokemon is available in Sword and Shield. By the way, Abra just became available because of the Isle of Armor DLC. I now have a shiny Alakazam in Pokemon Sword and Shield. It didn't take me 512 encounters to get a shiny Abra. I just had to play Pokemon Go Community Day absolutely free. You just have to open the app, and if you don't have an instance, though, you might have to spend a little bit, and then yeah, shiny Abra. So, what am I trying to get here? Be excited, guys, because let me just say this, though. This method will only work if you have the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games, and if you have Pokemon Home. Pokemon Home is free, but if you have a ton of Pokemon to store in there, you're gonna have to get a subscription. But right now, we have... Oh, and another thing about Let's Go Eevee or Pikachu games is that you can only transfer Pokemon Go Pokemon to that game that are from Kanto or Alolan forms of Kanto Pokemon. So Sandshrew, Executor, you know those guys, and Melmetal and Meltan. All right. So other gens, Gen 2 to and above. I mean, right now in Pokemon Go we're at Gen 5. So Gen 2 to Gen 5, currently there is no way for Pokemon Go to interact with the main series games, but I do know that it was showed to us that when Pokemon Home was presented, Pokemon Go will be able to interact with Pokemon Home as well. So until that day comes, I'm just gonna let my shiny Beldums rest here until the day where I can transfer them to my Sword and Shield games. Anyway, as for this one, be excited, guys, because our next Community Day is actually a Kantonian Pokemon, Ghastly. Now, in Pokemon Go, if you evolve it all the way to Gengar within the time frame that Niantic gives us, 11 to 5 p.m. to catch the Ghastly, and then you will get, I think, 2 hours to evolve it. So it's you can focus on just catching Ghastlies from 11 to 5, and then you can focus on trading or evolving from 5 to 7 p.m. All right, so you're gonna get a Gengar that knows Shadow Punch, very good PvP move, charges really, really fast. But I think for me, my highlight for this one is to catch as many Ghastlies as I can, because it's definitely the easiest way for me to get a shiny Gengar in Pokemon Sword or Shield. In fact, the Ghastly, I don't even, you might be thinking, oh, wouldn't you have to evolve to trade Haunter over to evolve it. Well, yeah, I could do that, or I could just evolve it all the way and get to Gengar in Pokemon Go, transfer it to Let's Go Pikachu, Eevee as a Gengar, and then voila. And then, of course, you might be thinking, well, what about Gigantamax Gengar? There's Max Soups now, so easy shiny Gengar or easy shiny G-Max Gengar in the game, guys. So let me remind you guys, to those people who play Pokemon Go, go ahead. I think Ghastly will be very viable for PvP for people who played both games. Yeah. Do I need to explain anymore? And for those who just play the main series games and have never been interested in Pokemon Go before, guys, this is definitely the fastest and the easiest way to get your hands on a shiny Ghastly. And let's say you're one of those people who wants to have a shiny living dex. This is easily one of the easiest ways to get your entry for a shiny living dex for Ghastly. Why? Because on Community Day, you're going to be playing on July 19, 2020. That's worldwide, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time. And like again, shiny Abra, I got like 25. Shiny Weedles, I got 18. I have more than enough for a complete shiny line. I could get shiny Ghastly, shiny Haunter, shiny Gengar in the game and store it in my box forever. And I have entries for my shiny living dex. So there you have it, guys. Definitely all the cool ways to shiny hunt in Pokemon Go and the Sword and Shield games, and how they, it's really good, and it's really viable. So again, my final words is go ahead and play Community Day. If you're just a main series game player, it's super easy and it's absolutely free to participate in Community Day. As long as you have instance in that particular account of yours, go crazy. But if you really don't want to get into Pokemon Go, if you really don't want to install it, then just befriend someone who's going to play Pokemon Go and tell them, hey, could you catch like 3 Ghastlys for me that are shiny and trade them over to me? And yeah. And who knows, I could be that person too. Just let me know in the comment section. So thank you guys, everyone, for watching this video. I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. Now, okay, something that just popped in my mind right now. Well, Pokemon Go essentially doesn't work like main series games. Like in Pokemon Go, we only have 3 stats: attack, defense, HP. In the main series games, we have 6 stats: attack, special attack, defense, special defense, HP, and speed. How does that all work together? Well, it's basically your HP, defense, and special defense is in the defense stat. Your special attack, attack speed, and special attack, attack, and speed are in the attack stat. So if you have a hundo, potentially you could get a very, very good Pokemon in the main series games. But here's the reality, though: it doesn't matter. What about the nature? Yeah, Pokemon Go does not have nature, but it doesn't matter. How about abilities? The abilities, though, they do kind of matter. So here's a quick fix for that. You're worried about not getting 6 IVs? Hyper Train. You're worried about the nature? Mints. You can change Pokemon's natures for whatever they are. What about abilities? Well, if you're not looking for a hidden ability, the ability capsule is always available in the game. So you just have to battle some battles in the battle tower and afford to get yourself an ability capsule. Or you can get 3 bottle caps, go to the Isle of Armor, Cramomatic, and it will give you an ability capsule. 3 bottle caps, I think. Or, yeah. Anyway, so there you have it, guys. I hope you have fun shiny hunting. For all your shiny hunters out there, whether in Pokemon Go, you can go to shinyrates.com to see the rates of the Pokemon that you're currently shiny hunting. You can do raids, you can do egg hatching, and of course Community Day. Don't forget, July 19. And of course, after Community Day, it's gonna be Go Fest. So that's another cool way. We'll talk about Go Fest in the future. In the main series games, if you're shiny hunting in the main series games, yeah, go for the Masuda Method if you want. If you want something that's not borderline super boring, you can go for this. Get a 500 battles in for the Pokemon that you're shiny hunting. And yeah, there is some rumor though that there's a glitch in this, that the boosted rates for shiny in the Sword and Shield only works 3% of the time. So I would definitely say go for Masuda Method instead. Or just like the Zero Aura event that we had, participate in the events in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And yeah, in the last event, everyone got a shiny Zero Aura. So that's a pretty cool thing. So thank you guys for watching this video. Again, this is Ike from Another Talk Show. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. And then on the drop down portion of that icon is the all button. Hit that all button. That way you're always updated for our latest videos or if we have a live stream coming up. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.